sulfate-free shampoo. Washing is like, you know, hair care 101. You've been doing it probably since you were 5 years old, maybe. Maybe not that little. There are products out there called conditioning cleansers. Conditioning cleansers means there's like zero lather to it. And a lot of times for textured hair, people will go into that. I feel like you don't really need to worry about that, but just to let you know that it is out there. It's like, again, I just want to make this as simple as possible. Even if you just do conditioner only, I want you to get into the scalp and remember that friction and water is 80% of what cleanses the scalp. And sometimes, yeah, you've got to really get in there because, especially right in here, this area, right around here, it's always the area where we're like, oh my gosh, it needs a lot of love. No matter what. You can break through this area, this crown area on most clients that have textured hair, and it's like, oh, we just spent 2 hours doing this, and it just went right back up. That's just the way it goes, right? That's just normal. So when you get, you know, really emulsifying your hands, what you want to do first is make sure everything's getting on the scalp. So I'll get everything onto the scalp. Even if I'm doing a co-wash, which is conditioner only, I'll kind of do that. And then I add water. And then it starts moving. And even if you're using conditioner, it'll actually start moving. But always adding water the entire time and really making sure you're just working that, the dead cells loosening up off of the scalp, which I feel like it's so basic and so elementary, like you've been doing this your whole entire life. There's not really any magic in it. Just make sure if you are ever using a conditioning cleanser, which they typically don't have a lot of suds to it, that you're really working it onto the scalp because it's hard to get through this density right here. Did you know all these people were going to be here? No. Oh, you didn't? Oh, no.
I know that many. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah. When you're rinsing, make sure you're not just like this. You got to be like this. And you've got to like remember that you are moving all of those dead cells through like massive amounts of hair, right? So you can't just like throw your head back. It's like you want to friction on, friction off. That's kind of the rule of the curly world. And then because she has long hair too, you want to make sure you really rinse because it's got to move all the way through there. And you don't want to have a bunch of stuff stuck. You've got all that dead stuff moved all the way through. I'll grab you a little towel too, so if it's falling in your ear, you can not suffer the whole entire time. When the hair is really, really wet, this is really key. Do not wring this water out ever, because the water is the magic, right? I think I'm gonna use this one and maybe melt into moisture. Okay, this is the same conditioner you guys are gonna go home with. There's one that has a green bottle, one that has a blue. The blue's got, it's a little bit thicker, but they're very similar. And I had to like go to all of the distributors in this town just to have enough. So some people got blue, some people got green, but you can use either of them. They're really, the blue one's just a little bit more concentrated. I mean, it's got a little bit more moisture to it, but don't think, oh no, I didn't get the right one. It is the right one. I'm gonna take some conditioner, and this is where hydration really happens. The marriage of conditioner and water is what creates hydration. So I take the conditioner and I start smoothing it onto the hair like this, like I'm trying to blend it with water. And a lot of times we'll start at the ends and then move up, but if it's heavily textured like this, I mean, it doesn't matter, you can get it all over there.
Is this what you call scrunching?
Not yet,
Okay.
but I love that you know
Define
that.
term.
Yes. So this is like hydration. This is the marriage of water and conditioner. And so I'll really like work some in like that, and you'll start seeing things start to come out. Then you add a little water, and then you add more, and you're gonna do that rotation of water, conditioner, water, conditioner, water, conditioner, until the hair looks and sounds and feels like wet, soggy spaghetti noodles. You're gonna really work it in, and it's eventually gonna have that kind of sound. And believe me, on textured hair, sometimes you can do that, especially in the beginning days when you're first really starting to hydrate it, where it's like, my client's like, I still haven't got that sound. I'm like, oh, you need to do more, because once you get there, then it'll be easier to start getting that. I'm not worrying about detangling it at first. I just want to make sure I'm blending, I'm marrying the two together, starting at the end. And you're gonna see it starts making this kind of soapy, like milky kind of look. And that's exactly what you want. And that kind of sound is exactly what you want. Now on her hair, because she's got a lot of density, I can also take a deep conditioner, which is usually a thicker, heavier, comes in a tub. And I can take a little bit of that. And how you can save money with deep conditioners is you don't need to actually deep condition once a week, because, I mean, you can if you want to, I mean, knock yourself out. But you can just take some of it and actually mix it in with your regular wash like once a week, so that you're blending the two, the heavy conditioner with just the normal kind of everyday milky consistency type of conditioner. You know, let it sit for a little bit, because then it'll be easier to go back in and detangle. And then again, with alligator clips, you're gonna wanna section off to get, can you grab me one? I don't know where they went. I lost it.
Here's a couple.
Oh, thank you. So I might need that extra one. I feel like she's got that hair. So you can use a detangling brush to go through here. It'll be easier to detangle if you've got that mix down, right? You can use a detangling brush, you can use a comb. I like wide tooth combs the best, starting from the bottom and then just working your way up, because it's easier. Remember that curls are like, it's like wool, really, like it's very delicate. You don't want to be yanking on it, although I know when you've got to get out the door, you're like, I'm just trying to live my life here. But you want to make sure you go through and get everything out and do it in sections. A lot of times in here, we do things just fingers only. So even down in here, after all of that, I feel like it's still, do you see how it wants to get like kind of knotted up? So even before I start to, water sometimes will be your biggest help when you think, oh, I need to add more conditioner. If you just add a little water, you'd be surprised how much the hair will move. And then if it doesn't all the way, then you add in the conditioner with it. You don't have to do it like from the beginning. And it is easier when, I don't know, maybe it's not easier for them because they're still gonna be like, oh, you're pulling on my hair. But if they're like sitting up, you know what I mean, in the bath.
It's easier if they're watching the show.
Yes. Yes. Even 2 seconds later, you see how that just dries right up? Over time, that will get better because the hair will just be so hydrated. but I didn't really need to add any more conditioner to it. I just needed to add water. And when I do conditioner, I'm always doing it to lay down the cuticle, just like I did when I was doing that refresh over there. Because it should get to the point where you can just like rake through like this, all the way through to the ends, like this. It should just be like really slippery and buttery, because if you can get it like this, it'll last you longer. Now, we're gonna do a drizzle rinse today on her. You can then do, when we get all the way through, and I'll explain what that is. But the different ways that you can style the hair is, let's say, what we're gonna do today, we'll do flip coat scrunch so you can see what that means. But you can do a conditioner only, meaning we're gonna go through this whole thing, use only conditioner. We're not gonna use a gel, we're not gonna use a cream, we're not gonna use a leave-in. A lot of my clients are conditioner only clients, or it's like, you don't need to like do all of the things. And in fact, my daughter actually does just conditioner only most of the time. That is her styler. Like that's what she uses. And then when she wants it to be extra, you can actually, after you do like a drizzle rinse here, you could sit down and section off again, and then add a cream, break through, section off. Water, cream. Don't ever do anything without water. If you like take, out of the bath, and you're like, okay, come sit on my lap and we're gonna section through, and you don't have a water bottle, the moisture's gone, the hydration's left the building, you are fighting. You are literally like working backwards from all the hard work you just did, because the goal is to keep the water in the hair. Water's your best bet. Don't think oil will do it. That's what people think, and it will not do it, because that's gonna repel the water. So, this conditioner water mix, taking your time, and when you actually work out on the ends, if you start separating from the ends and then combing out, and it'll just like break through, a lot of patience, a lot of time, really. And sometimes when it's really knotted like that, sometimes it'll just come out. Like it'll come out in a clump, yeah. And there's really nothing you can do to prevent that once it's there. It's just gonna take a lot of patience. And you really like separate it out like that. You could also do finger coiling. So sometimes just around the face where we get those, then we'll go in and really smooth it out with conditioner and just do a little wrap around the finger. And when you do that, then those little drier pieces will like stay in a curl like that. And a lot of times you're just not gonna finger coil the whole head. Like that's just not realistic for life. And it's normal to just have all of the hair all over you. That's your new life. It's just gonna happen.
So how often is a trim a good idea?
We say every 4 to 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Probably yeah.
But how old?
She's 6.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, when they're that little, it's totally different. Usually they come in and that's the first time ever even getting a trim. When we're done, it's gonna wanna go back to its natural form. And that's when I could start manipulating a little bit and doing like, okay, I'm gonna finger coil a few sections around her face.
Does it, like with my younger daughter, it seems like half of her hair prefers to twist one way,
And then the other
you
ones.
do a lot of finger twisting.
Yeah. And usually if you can see where it's going, work with it, not against it. So a lot of what we do in here is we're just letting the hair kind of guide us. It's like, don't try to fight it, work with it. go in that direction, if you notice that it's going in a particular direction, just let it. And now they might all be opposite, going different ways. And you can always do, like, if you want to do deep conditioning, get it wet like this, get your deep conditioner in there. You can even do it on dry hair first, the deep conditioning, and then you take the hair, kind of separate like this, put your deep conditioner in, and you can really like twist and let it sit in there, and then when it's dry, take it out, and you'll have like some really good hydrated hair. But it might take like years for it to dry, because that's what happens with textured hair, is it takes a while for it to dry.
Is it okay to have them sleep with it wet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it takes so long to dry. Another thing we should talk about sleeping with textured hair. I mean, silk or satin pillowcase or bonnet, it's gonna change your world, right? Like having that so that there's not a bunch of friction all over the hair. And there is even wrapping, but maybe when they get a little bit older where you kind of scarf it so it really stays more smooth. But there's so many bonnets now like on the market that you can literally just put on. It's gonna protect from like getting all the little fuzzies everywhere. And in the curl community, everyone thinks they're supposed to have it. It's like, no, it's really for textured hair. I mean, in the African American community, wrapping the hair at night and sleeping with silk or satin scarves has been, you know, just part of the culture for so many years.
What age would you start doing that at? Like I have a
When they'll
15-year-old
keep it on,
Okay.
like my 3-year-old
Say she
granddaughter,
might leave it on. Yeah, she doesn't.
she is not gonna